Hello, everyone. Welcome to Todd Talks. I am joined by Jim Davis. I am your perfect warlock, and he is your perfect dungeon master, knowing all the lore that needs to be known. He may be broadcasting out of an airplane right now.
It feels like it. It certainly feels like it. Spent a lot of time in the air. I got to fly over the Southern Rockies yesterday. I've never had a chance to do that. I love the desert, in case anybody didn't know. And it's there's no humidity there, and so I got to fly over the Rockies. It was great. Loved it.
We are not made of similar stuff.
Come on, it's just dirt.
I need humidity. Jeremy Crawford looks different. How dare you? So is Mordenkainene. I hate that. So more Unearthed Arcana.
Yeah. Man, I'm like drooling now for whatever this is going to be included in. Like,
I'm kind of amused by the fact that they're no longer just dumping it like in twos. Now they're just like in threes.
Just like have it all. Just take it.
Take it.
Right.
Take all the UA that you can get.
But it hasn't been. It's been like Xanathars, like pre-Xanathars. We were getting them like once every week, right? Because we were trying to keep up with them, and it was just like,
yeah.
And so it's felt like that for the last few weeks. I'm glad. It's cool. Try it out. Hope new places.
It was pretty insane.
Yeah, I recall
a lot of Unearthed Arcana to keep track of. This is a lot of Unearthed Arcana to keep track of, but it's a little bit scarier for me for this set of Unearthed Arcana that I've been saying is, I think with Xanathar, I was like, sometimes I saw some, I'm like, that might not make it.
Sure.
That one might not make it. So far, I have not had that feeling where I'm like, I don't know where this is going, but I hope it's big because all of these look really good so far.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a theme that like ties them all together, either like thematically or like mechanically. And I don't know, like not just these, but like the other prior weeks. And at first it was like planar stuff, but maybe I don't know. I try not to guess. I find I like it more when I just like zone out and have a zen moment about it and crack open a book and be like,
certainly Xanathar had like, the Shadow Sorcerer and the Hexblade, and those are two very shadowy, subclasses, but that wasn't associated with anything that was coming up. I think these are the, like more niches that people would like to fill. I am seeing a design philosophy that is different in helping people and helping your group.
Certainly.
And
it does feel like they're stretching their legs a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. And abilities that kind of layer. I'm seeing a lot of that later on. Yeah. I'm looking at you, Lurker in the Deep. Who doesn't like a spiritual hammer that can also give you like legendary resistance?
Exactly. Come on.
So good. Okay, let's dive in because this is gonna take a while. So we've got a new divine domain. Is called the Twilight Domain. This governs the transition between light and darkness, and I already love this because I love that moment right before the sun sets, and it is a different time. Like it is not like I am not a god of the sun or even a god of the moon. I am a god of this period of complete transition.
Sure. It's like you're most likely, or at least me, I'm most likely to like see things that aren't there, or like fleeting shadows, mirages, or things like that during that like those twilight hours. So yeah, I love the flavor of it. Although I find like it's a bit broad when I see like I could be a Pelor, Ilmater, Raven Queen, the Traveler. Or like it to me, like if I was a GM, like I'm saying like, all right, we're going to like narrow this down, and the gods that define this are going to be maybe less broad, but like, I love that they're showing you that as conceptually, this could cover so many different things. Is this a Night Stalker, or is this like a Night's Watchman? What kind of character is this?
So that's an interesting concept. Yeah. The only one I wouldn't have really put in there was Pelor.
Sure.
Doesn't really seem like Pelor's jam. But
no. But how many like gods of the sunset are there? We've got like Lathander, who is the the Morning Lord, etc. What was the other one? Aminator, the lawful neutral. sun god that they brought back in 4th edition. Pelor, of course, sort of similar, just like god of the sun, but not a lot of the gods of sunset. And I feel like that's missing.
Yeah, and this fills this rather nicely. You do get several new domain spells: Fairy Fire, Sleep. That makes a lot of sense. Darkness, Invisibility, Aura, Vitality, Liamon's Tiny Hut. That's certainly comfort and safety. Aura of Life, Greater Invisibility, Circle of Power, and Dream. These all fit really well to me.
Oh, certainly. And Circle of Power needs more love. Like, I feel like just it's as far as I know, it's just on the Paladin list, so I didn't get cast as often.
Oh,
it's a really cool. It's a really cool spell, and I love seeing it on a cleric. It's like, oh, there's really cool stuff going on with this spell list. I like it.
Yeah, this all feels. And again, it is that kind of like I am part of this. Like when the shadows grow long, I am part of this world. Whether I'm defending people or I'm causing the fear, because this is this is very spooky. This is very Halloween, Unearthed Arcana subclass, and I see it being that kind of harvest time.
It does have that kind of feel to it.
Not just Twilight Domain, but also like the Harvest Domain as well. It'd be nice to layer that in there.
Ooh, okay, all right. Now I'm thinking about a whole. We could reskin this. Let's talk about the class we have, not the class that we're.
So let's make a Gollum Scarecrow. Then I am totally on board.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's gonna happen. That's gonna happen. All right.
All right.
Okay.
So you gained make an artificer with a.
We're gonna end up talking about
I'm making a Balanced Mage with a Scarecrow.
What are you doing next week, Todd? Let's talk about Halloween builds.
Oh my god, it's so scary. Yeah, we should do that actually. Halloween builds would be so super fun. I would not fight that guy. All right, so you got proficiency with martial weapons and heavy armor.
So here was my first record scratch for me. The proficiency with heavy armor and martial weapons was my first record scratch, because up until now I'm like, this seems like a caster, and I'm like, this seems like someone who's in the stalking, skulking, and then I'm like, wait a minute, like I can see it conceptually, right? Particularly if you're going like the Night Watchman angle, the shield in the dark kind of angle, then you would want that full array, but. Thematically, it was where I first started scratching my head, but I like it. I mean, it's do it. Go whole.
Who's going to say no to martial weapons and heavy armor? But yeah,
my ranger isn't.
To my mind, a more almost druidic type of cleric in that sense, or it would be like a scythe or leather armor and something a little bit more down to earth.
Scythe. Yeah, a scythe. Something like
harvesting.
There's like Warhammer wizards are divided into colors, right? And there's a amethyst school that is like shadow and death, and it's like the transition from life into death. And so they're there to like help guide spirits and make sure they don't end up as chaos spawn or undead or something. And so it's in that way this sort of like tinged with grave, in the same way that Twilight feels a little bit like grave, but a different flavor of it. So yeah, scythe all the way.
So Eyes of Night. Yeah. The deeply debated Eyes of Night.
Let's talk about it.
Your eyes are blessed, allowing you to see through the deepest gloom. Well, not the deepest gloom, but you have dark vision with no maximum range. You can see in dim light as if it were bright light, and in darkness as if it were dim light. As an action, you can also magically give this benefit of this feature to any number of creatures you see within 10 feet of you. The shared benefit lasts for 10 minutes, which is probably all you need. You can extend this benefit a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier. This basically means you can like just have this going on all the time.
Yeah.
That's so no maximum range.
This is a hell of a buff. Listen, the edge cases where this is going to be a problem, your toolbox as a DM is overfilled with options for dealing with a ranger or something that can, or a cleric who can see. I said ranger because I'm going to take this as a dip for my ranger. Anyway, no, I won't. That's cheating. Anyway. I want to though. Like just for reference though, like if you're using the standard sort of like DMG province, if a character is standing like in relatively flat terrain in the middle of that hex, they can see to the edges of it. A human on like a prairie, just slight elevation, can see about 3 miles. So that's about what they can see. They've still got disadvantage, right? Like to perception and attacks. And also, like, how many times does that come up? Now, I run a campaign that's mostly in the desert or the ocean, so for me, it kind of comes up a lot, but it's all right. There's fog cloud, right? There's invisibility. There's a whole range of effects that if you're dragon who's dive bombing and you don't want to die before it gets to the party and humiliate yourself as you're first running a campaign in Dungeons and Dragons, you can do to avoid that situation. So that's personal tale, I overcame that.
I have zero problem with this ability because it is not overpowered. It's very thematic. And walk out your door right now in daylight and see what you can see.
I mean that's the thing is like I think part of it is we're used to thinking of distances in Dungeons and Dragons as like squares on a mat or something like that, and you see like no maximum range, and I'm like, consider in your average D&D campaign, which probably takes place more likely in a forest or some other kind of terrain or mountains or something which blocks line of sight, or a dungeon. There's all kinds of things. Urban environment. These places are not like nice, neat, modern cities. They're messy, medieval cities with curves and poor line of sight. It's why it was terrible to live in them, because if they caught fire, there was a disease, you were kind of screwed. So I feel like that the situations in which this would be a problem, like it's better
They're
to
so
reframe
far
it.
and few between, and
so far
and then I would make a plot point.
Yes. Yeah. Highlight it, right? The fact that what if I have a party of all archers? Well, then don't approach them in the open. Or do it and let them be badasses or whatever, and gauge
let them get that moment.
Yeah, and then hit them with a second wave and a third wave, and then 30 minutes later, a fourth wave.
Having
that kind of thing.
A pirate ship, right? And you're the only ship that can see in total darkness through to the horizon. And so you're just picking off ships.
Yeah.
But that's the point. Like D&D is not player versus player. This is like you versus the environment. And that having that cleric, that cleric has so much power. Like that guy is like more powerful than the cook. Like he's like, but I'm not going to give you dark vision.
Then it becomes a thing of maybe they start trying to send assassins against your team, right? Like if that's the thing with me, like, and this is not the way D&D works for everybody, in an arms race, there is a limit because the DM will win if you push that far enough. But in small doses, it can be used to justify NPC actions. It can be used to say like, using the resources of this specific organization, which is limited in the game world, we're going to try to stop and negate this player advantage. And maybe it means they start using like ironclads or submarines, or they start swarming you with too many targets to deal with in a round, in that kind of situation. Like, what are you going to do if you can pick off like one ship with a warlock and firebolt and spell sniper, and you gift them with this for 10 minutes? They're a terror on the ocean, right? Setting fire to sails and everything. But what are they going to do against a dragon turtle? Or a horde of, or even better, a horde of CR-1 mermaids that are drilling holes in the bottom of their ship, right? How are you going to shoot them? Anyway.
Kraken doesn't care.
These are edge cases. Kraken doesn't care. What are you going to do with that Kraken? It's just the one tentacle.
It already knows who's on that ship.
Come on.
Yeah, so this is one of those things where I'm afraid that people are going to complain about this in the test feedback, and it doesn't deserve to be complained about at all.
I don't think so. It's a sidebar. It is, hey guys, check this out. If unlimited dark vision has become an issue for your game, then here are ways to deal with it. Now there are edge cases, right? Right now Twilight is a delicious dip for a rogue, a ranger, a fighter. Any number of them would want Eyes of Night, Vigilant Blessing, and the proficiencies. I would my counter to that is like, these content's not meant to be multi-class with, and you do so at your your discretion. Go for it. I like it because it makes crazy characters. But
I've yet to run into a build with that I can't it just doesn't come up. Like I don't have any. Honestly, I'll be completely honest. Paladins are like always an issue for dungeon masters. They're just linking.
Yeah, it's like the second round of Immortal was that way for me.
Improving everyone's saving throws and everything else. Like they make life tough. They make CR ratings tougher. Like there should be a special button to click. Like, oh, they have Paladin.
Yeah, Paladin. Here's add this buff to your monsters. This is the Paladin buff.
Yeah, Paladin buff. So I quite like this ability. Then we have Vigilant Blessing. The knight has taught you to be vigilant. I think that makes a lot of thematic sense. And you can give yourself or a creature that you like advantage on the next initiative roll the creature makes. This benefit ends immediately after the roll, or if you use this feature again. So depending on how you use initiative, or if you even do, this is this could be a very big deal. Giving this to an assassin starts to turn you into SEAL Team 6. Like you are a Black Op group, and then you become very functional. So it's certainly not a ribbon ability. I wouldn't say that by any means. I think it's just a very strong utilitarian, cool little thing you can add to the party. If you're going an assassin, it is rough.
I can see that. Advantage on initiative. Like, what else gets you that? There's the Sentinel Shield will get you advantage on initiative.
Sentinel Shield.
Barbarian get advantage on initiative, or they just add something else to it? Because I know the couple of classes just get they get to add a second stat or something to it. So
which ranger gets the plus bonus to their initiative?
Gloomstalker.
Gloomstalker
gets that.
So they're going to go. And then if they have the feat alertness, then that is a character who is just built I am going to be first.
Oh sure, yeah. Well, I had this is the way I did with my rogue. My rogue was similar, sort of dagger of warning and a couple of other items. It's just not being surprised is pretty important to me. It's it's not it's not the most broken thing in the world, but I'm squishy. I kind of want to go first, so I can strike you in GTFO. So I don't think it's not overpowered. I feel like it's on theme. It's pretty cool. It continues to sell me on this kind of Twilight. If anything, compared to say Wildfire and Onomancy, Twilight is the least powerful in terms of just the mechanics that they're bringing to the table. I find there's still a cleric, right? They still got the full cleric spell list. There's still the unkillable badasses that clerics end up being, at least I find them to be. But I think I can't find much about this class other than to me it's thematically all over the place that I object to. It's really cool. I love it, and I hope they don't tone it down.
Yeah.
Anyway, I didn't mean to just jump to the end. I just was sort of
no. Yeah, we're done.
Ceiling ropes.
That's good. Yeah, the Charm Divinity is kind of cool. At 7th level, you, as an action, can present your holy symbol, and you create a sphere of twilight that emanates from you. Which, man, visually, that is going to be creepy and strange.
Yes.
The sphere is centered on you and has a 30-foot radius. Is filled with dim light. The sphere moves with you, and it lasts for 1 minute until you're incapacitated or had a very bad day. Whenever a creature, including you, ends its turn in the sphere, you can grant that creature one of the following benefits. It gains 1 to 8 temporary hit points, or end one effect causing it to be charmed or frightened. Now we're getting really into the spooky kind of autumn-y stuff again, where I'm okay, if you're in Ravenloft, this is at least giving your party useful. And it's great because you're either adding darkness or you're adding light, depending on what time of day it is. So it's interesting.
Well, I was gonna say, and it's sort of it's a low-key perception debuff, right? So it's you can, they don't have to save or anything. So maybe you can be a good partner to your rogue if you take off that plate armor. And whereas previously trickster clerics.
Right. Because of how stealthy all of this is, plate armor is not necessarily the best choice.
Yeah, that's why sort of like it made me scratch my head. But like previously, you really just had say, trickster cleric, trickery clerics do like pair well with rogues. I think there's a lot of fun things they can do, especially once the double, like the illusory double, starts getting a bunch of stuff. But now we've got like an extra cleric rogue combo, and I don't know why. I think it's probably because of Baldur's Gate. I kept playing like a cleric rogue multi-class character way back in the day. That like combo of like criminality and stealth mixed with like holy power has always appealed to me. Like, and so I just like cleric rogue combos, either multi-class or as a duo. Come on.
It reminds me of the old Brendan Fraser, the Mummy. When I forget his name, but he like has a holy symbol from every religion when he gets attacked by the Mummy. Like he just did his one level dip into every cleric.
Benny was his name, right?
Oh my god, it was so funny.
Yeah, that's the most D&D movie.
That's how a rogue does it.
Yeah, that's how they do it. Come on, what else is bound to work?
So, Steps of the Brave. You draw strength from your connection to the Twilight and find yourself at home within its dark embrace, gaining 2 benefits. I always like dark embrace. You have advantage on saving throws against being frightened. Again, I can really see you in Ravenloft. Like, this is your cleric.
Especially
if you're in
like
dim light or darkness.
Paladin.
If you're in dim light or darkness, you can use a bonus action to magically give yourself a flying speed equal to your walking speed until the end of your turn.
I think I wish there was a little. I kind of like Shadow Step is sort of where, say, Sorcerer ends up shadow stepping, Shadow Monk ends up shadow stepping. So I feel like thematically we could continue to do that, but also like there's plenty of things like Wings of Shadow or like shadowy bat wings or something. Yeah. To me, it kind of like it almost like turns them into a weird, like, you remember that Marvel character Mobius the Living Vampire?
Yes. Well, who's literally getting a movie with the killer of comic book movies.
Really? I didn't. Oh God.
Jared Leto is playing.
Oh yeah. Wow, that's news to me. I did not know that. I will watch the hell out of that. Anyway,
I mean, I'll watch it. I'll rent it. I'll watch it as a sport.
Sure. I love them. I love JLA movies, right? Anyway, Dim Light or Darks, to me, it's like, I do, right? They're not the best. They're not Marvel quality, but I love them for what they are. Anyway, it sort of feels that way, right? Like, it feels like you're borrowing part of that vampire lore of like the shadows surround you and sort of like propel you. I think I definitely would. If I was playing this character, this would be where the cloak sort of like comes alive and maybe like Doctor Strange it up a bit, sort of that billowing cloak that you wear around your plate armor. So they don't see it.
Like, this came from someone else, and I'm not. I think it came from Dan. We were talking about this, and it's kind of like, I imagine I wouldn't play it as flying. I would play it as there's a shadow, of a tree, and you are like climbing the shadow of the tree.
Yeah, I like that.
But that's too hard to describe, really, in Steps of. But it's called Steps of the Brave, so that's where I'm like, okay, because this is your speed, natural speed that you can fly, but like the fact that you're climbing the darkness, I think is very evocative and creepy. So
I do think that, because it's sort of like you're a 3-dimensional being. Interacting with a 2-dimensional space thing. That's what I love the most about shadows, right? Shadows in D&D, whether they're animate shadows or magic shadows or whatever, is like, it's a 2-dimensional thing that's interacting with a 3-dimensional universe. And so there's still some incongruity there. There's still just like how does this even look kind of thing. And so just the creepiness of it, the fact that the DM can get really weird or the player can, and just like really dig into it. I don't know. I like
really
it. There's
cool story stuff with it. Yeah.
Sure.
When you think about it that way. There was a very excellent video game called Silhouette, I believe, is an indie game. Right about when it left. Yeah, where you could jump. I don't think I played it. So Divine Strike, you gain the ability to infuse your weapon with strikes of divine energy. like you do.
Dark Paladin.
Once on each of your turns, when you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can cause the attack to do extra psychic damage. Seen a lot of psychic damage lately. When you reach 14th level, the extra damage increases by 2d8. This is decent. It doesn't make you like the most powerful fighter in the world or anything like that.
No,
psychic damage is hard to be immune to.
Yeah,
not good against the undead though. So,
no, I give ghosts vulnerability to psychic damage myself, just because it makes sense to me.
Yeah, that's interesting because they're the most sensitive.
This really, they're tethered because they're sort of unfinished business.
I like that quite a bit actually. So especially because then you have the separation of undead of like, okay, I'm either very sensitive to psychic energy or I'm very not.
Yeah. It's just like to me, it also highlights like the ghost is a type of undead that is basically an NPC. Like they're a puzzle, to sort of figure out, not necessarily a monster to kill. Otherwise, they'll age you to death.
Yes, they will. Depending on other additions, they will level you down.
Yes, they will. Be afraid.
So you can, at the 17th, this is the big one, Midnight Shroud. You can harness the shrouding power of night to protect your allies and stymie your foes. Whenever you
stymie your foes.
Whenever you cast darkness spell using a spell slot, you can choose any number of creatures that you can see, including yourself, equal to your wisdom modifier. They can see through that darkness.
Yeah.
Now you've got the
17th level ability. Yeah. Now this is a 17th level ability. Like I like this. It's like I expect a tier 4 group of D&D characters to be able to just like, we're just going to sit in this globe of darkness and come at us. What are you going to do? Either get rid of it.
Because it's already creepy when the Warlock and the Shadow Sorcerer do it together.
Oh, right. Well,
and that's
like to me, it solves that.
Being able to do that is like, okay, this separates you from the party.
Right. And like, whereas previously that sort of tactic of the character sits in the darkness and attacks out of it or something is been limited. And, I kind of tell people like, hey, make sure it's all right with the rest of the group because it can be, people can see it as like anti-party. But the fact that the Cleric over here at 17th level finally just like, no, we can all get this. Let's all have this.
I think that's great. And again, for those that don't know at home, this means that your enemies have disadvantage to hit you, and you now have advantage to hit them.
Yeah, and they can't see you to target you with spells. Unless
you just want to get really gross with this, you're playing an elf, right? Everyone has elven accuracy, and you just triple advantage everyone to death.
Forget about elven accuracy.
That's crit fishing. Everyone's crit fishing. So you could build a party and we're like, okay, this is where we want to get to when we're like level.
Okay. All right. So the party consists of a Twilight Cleric. Are we bringing the Shadow Sorcerer along?
Let's bring the Shadow Sorcerer in there.
Bring the Shadow Sorcerer.
Because then you got that direwolf just getting advantage on all of its attacks anyways. It's near you. Then you got some kind of rogue.
An elven fighter.
You need that rogue because then they'll have advantage on stuff. Things are just rough.
This is sick, yeah. All right, well, that's the DMs. Just start bringing like max HP monsters after you guys. Always invisible. It just like combat is just the two sides staring at each other, not moving.
This is another good example though of like the themed groups now that you can build. Like you can have the creepy Cthulhu group. You can have the Shadow group.
Yes.
So that excites me. I think that's fun.
Well, and like think of this one for an urban campaign. Number one, it solves the I can see as far as I can see thing because like in Sharn, in Waterdeep, like there's plenty of big tall buildings, Wizards Towers and the like to Baldur's Gate, right? Like hang out in Baldur's Gate a while before you send your crew to Avernus and like let them be the terror of the night with that with those backgrounds. What's the faceless one background from? All right. That's all right. That's the character I played. Take a few levels.
This could be very much a Watchman. Like I can see that Batman-like cleric up there on the tower, just looking at the entire city where other people cannot, and then sending people out. So,
yeah, definitely.
So a different tone.
very much to Tome, sure.
Wildfire, which I love this because this is very much part of nature. Forest fires are kind of necessary for the most part when they're not man-made to the health of the forest, and also terrifying. And I talked to Jeremy Crawford about this, and like fire has always been a big part of being a druid, especially like early on. Wild shape wasn't that big of a deal for druids. It was like it was a charming add-on. At best.
My first and only, I had two second edition characters. One of them was an inherited cleric that I took over the spot because they'd kicked the player out. And the other one that I made myself was a druid who actually got lost in Chult. And you could wild shape into a squirrel or a sparrow. Like it was a scouting ability, right? Like what are they going to care if a rat sneaks in there or something? And and you were more of a blaster, or or you just like wore the heaviest armor you could, flame blade, and waited in. And so I've been waiting for a dedicated offensive blaster druid, and I did not know I was also going to get a healer to boot. Oh yeah, I love this class.
What's funny is shout out to Lauren Urban who is Oboe Crazy. She plays Orkira Eldrex in our campaign, and she worships and I've not given her enough chances to interact with, but she went from being a cleric of Palor to a cleric of the Phoenix, and very much part of her character's backstory from the beginning. But this is like all Phoenix all the time.
Strong Phoenix vibes here.
So we got some circle spells here. They are very interesting. So you formed a mystical bond with a wildfire spirit. I love this because we're seeing more and more of these. Whether you make I don't know if where the homunculus is gone, but whether you have a steel defender as an artificer, or you have the shadow, the Hound of Ill Omen as the shadow sorcerer, and now you have this primal being created from fire, and you can decide what it looks like. It could be a phoenix, it could be just a really bejovial fire baby. I don't know.
I want it to just be like a tiny chibi flame that hops around.
Big enemy eyes. Right at it, I just wanted to be like a fireball from Super Mario. So when you so when you reach certain levels in this class, you gain access to spells. These spells are listed for the Circle of Wildfire. Locate animals, which I kind of like this a lot. Like locate animals and plants, because if you are going to lay down some fire, you want to know that this area is safe. Because you don't want to be that druid, and don't be that DM, by the way.
Just don't.
I unfortunately had a player character once destroy an entire space station, and they couldn't get over it, and that was my fault.
I think I probably
it's hard moralistically to continue playing that character. So then you have locate animals and plants, and then Scorching Ray. Don't use those together for evil purposes, everyone at home. You get Fireball, and then you get Plant Growth. We have lots of opposing stuff here, and I love it. Aura of Life and Fire Shield, Flame Strike, and Raise the Dead. I love this. I love these spells.
There's a lot of great ones, right?
Yeah,
and
seeing them laid out next to each other.
But the dichotomy is really great. Locate animals and plants is 5 mile radius, right? So I'm looking at it, and instantaneous, so it's not like a concentration spell. It's name a specific kind of beast or animal, concentrating on a voice of nature. So it's like it'll tell you the distance to them within 5 miles if any are present. So it's sort of you can kind of like walk around a place. It lasts. I'll see how long it lasts. I guess it lasts until the first one that you pick. So you sort of like cast this. Is there anything in here? Is there animals in here, or is there like a certain kind of plant? I like using this one in combination with an herbalist kit to find the herbs I need to make healing potions.
Want to hand that onto somebody also, and
because
if you need to find like a wizard and you're doing spell components and you are very crafty. Look at the spell components for certain spells and be like, I'm looking for this.
This is it's like it really. Locate animals and plants is a spell that and I like it because it's like, this is a spell that would exist in a world, right?
Yeah.
Like say Firebolt, the cantrip you get, that's Firebolt's sort of a spell that I'm like, I look at it and I'm like, well, there's a lot of different ways you can start a fire. Create bonfire was one. So like, it's clearly a war spell, but locate plants and animals is like, this is a farm spell. This is like someone had to make this because they got tired of looking for their lost goat, or like, you know, it's that kind of magic. I love that kind of D&D.
I do love spells that are like, they're like, okay, this is a farmer spell. And to my point,
here's how
I'm like, if I'm looking for a wizard in the forest and I know what they're carrying, which are like spell components, then I can track that sucker down.
You can track them down. It's like that. You can. I'm playing through Tales from Margrave over on Cobalt Press's channel, and I've got a magic item that specifically says I have to have a black chicken, and if I sacrifice it, my magic item does something different. So it's like weird. My rangers over here going like, well, I just go to the villages and ask if they have any black feathered chickens, and buy them. This one, anyway. I feel like I could talk a lot more about plants and animals. Yeah.
Well, I know, because it's kind of like if you really get inventive with something, and that's what I like about these kind of broader spells. I'm like, okay, well, I want to know where all the ants are. Well, then that's probably where all the food is. So what are they eating? Or like where there are wolves, like wolves are maybe tracking another party that you're looking for. You know, where are crows and ravens, and like you can get into the specifics of that, and then divine, you know, with some certainty where someone you're hunting is.
This is a spell for exploration style campaigns, because like it assumes a world that's alive around the players, and I know some DMs are comfortable either winging it, you know, like I'll roll for however many wolves are nearby, or they've already got a table set up, or something. So it would be one of those where if your DM's not prepared for that kind of play, it might throw them off. But if they're ready to roll, then this is a very satisfying way to like, okay, there's like so many different ways you can approach problems, and like more than that, accomplish your goals. And I mean, that's my favorite D&D right there, is when the players go, this is what we are doing, and here's how we're going to do it. And I'm like, let's roll those dice.
No, I love it. I love the wacky. So like, we literally, I don't even know where we are in my campaign right now. they got the... They got the rock of Rathanon from Ravenloft Module 2 from AD&D, and they decided, like, an elder brain decided to teleport itself away, and they're like, can I use it to keep the portal open and go with it? And I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
So now you're in space.
Have fun. You got that necklace of adaptation?
Things are going to get super weird. I can't believe we've talked this long about local animals.
That's fine. It's all right, I guess.
Local animals, Loki animals. So
local animals in your area.
It's a Google search. Summon Wildfire. You can summon the Primal Spirit bound to your soul as an action. You can expend one use of your wild shape feature. I love this. I love that this is becoming a thing, that you don't have to use wild shape to wild shape. And then the context of what wild shape means is something different. You're wild shaping a spirit creature into existence. So the spirit appears in unoccupied space within 30 feet of you. Blah blah. It's got all kinds of stats. When it appears, it must succeed. Anyone near it needs to succeed a dexterity saving throw against your spell save, or take 10d fire damage. I love that it just kind of bursts literally into the scene.
I think this may be one where I would be like, there's kind of got to be a fire around. Like that might be like a flavor thing that I say, like, so either maybe the druid, like, does the druid carry their own fire? Right? Like, do they just kindle a flame everywhere they go and like have that? Or is it like, no, I took create bonfire because the fire's within me. And then like, I would say, I might in that case say like, when you create bonfire, I might let you like double up on this or something, just for, you know, because it looks cool.
I mean, thematically, yes, I wouldn't limit them. Just because this is so core to everything that they're doing.
That's true. That's true.
And then that worries me, but I would have it like shoot out of a candle.
I mean, I think like any kind of fire for me would do, not necessarily a giant one, but I don't know. Like, to me, honestly, if we played out the bond, because it's at second level.
Yeah,
it might be one of those things that if they wanted, that we could say like we could role play this out and have it be like you're going to get this feature at second level, but sometime before you hit, like sometime for first level or during second level, like let's actually RP something where you, I don't know, find a wildfire and tinder it, or have to go like quest for a certain kind of primal flame and
quest for fire.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like I like things like that where it's like I don't want to withhold this ability from the player because it's part of their class, but I want to add something that intersects with the world to it.
It's a little bit of flavor. And that's on you as the DM. This is a strong companion. They're immune to fire. I mean, this is a big deal. And what I like also, and I talked to Jeremy Crawford about this, is the inclusion of stats that don't require you to like look for them. Like it's built into the class. This is what the creature is. It's here. You don't need to look through the monster manual to find it. You don't need to check the CR rating to make sure you can use it. You know, that kind of thing.
I really like this new, and I know that there have been some people who've like wanted this format for an updated Beastmaster kind of, but at the same time, I kind of like that the Beastmaster, it's like these animals are in the world, they sort of bond with one of them, and their spirit, you know, some animals are their spirit's too great to be bound. You know, that's sort of how I think of it. You know, some animals are just, you know, they're too mighty. Whereas the lower CR ones represent animals that are easier to form a bond with. But I like this Wildfire.
Wildfire Spirit is great. It can like basically watch the entire area. It's got dark vision. It can watch the entire area. It's got a decent passive. It's literally the campfire that's watching over you.
Right. Oh my God. Yes. So what if you have to give it? What if it wants like certain wood to burn? This is I'd have like a D6. What does my fire spirit want
what
today?
It's like really, really picky about what kind of fire.
Yeah, or
certain wood it loves, right? Like certain things, it's just like, that's the stuff.
And I first I'm gonna get a brick of black cats and throw it in me.
The spirit's skill and saving throw bonuses above the bonuses to hit and damage of its flame seed and the bonus to damage of its fiery teleportation. They increase by 1 when your proficiency bonus increases. So this becomes more powerful with you. It a little bit. And then it can also teleport anyone you want. Right? Am I reading this wrong? The spirit and each willing creature of your choice within 5 feet of it can teleport up to 30 feet into an unoccupied space. Each creature within 10 feet of that space that the spirit left must succeed in a dexterity saving throw and again take fire damage. This is just, I love it. I mean, it's powerful. It's great, right? Yeah, it's fun. It's weird.
Right. I have some questions about, like, to me, my one question really is like, if I voluntarily summon it again, does that refresh its fiery transportation? Because I can see myself in a big battle, right? Like, oh my God, you really got to just give everything. I think I would let it just because like it comes back, but I might also have it be
it's not an insane amount of damage. You are using your wild shape, so
sure.
Again, this is that campfire that's like, oh nope, blink, everyone's gone, everyone get moved to another location.
Yes,
I love it. It's hard to get through this one because I think everyone's wanted this druid. Just by the questions in chat, like people have like, what spells would you add or remove from the Wildfire Druid spells? I think a cool addition would be create or destroy water or control water. I wouldn't control water. I can see creating or destroying water, but really this is all about fire and not
I could see control
fire
weather
from being destroyed.
I could see control weather
because evil. Yeah.
Right. Because you could either make it worse or you can put an end to this thing. And but then it's on your spell list. So I can't think of ones from other class lists that I would add to this necessarily.
Yeah.
Especially
I'm very happy with it. I can tell you that if I was to play Druid so far, I would play this Druid.
Yeah, so I made a custom Druid, Druid of the Wasteland, and the theme of it was sort of like, this is an environment that is dying, and you represent their dying rage, and so you deal poison and radiant damage to represent like using radiation and other sort of like harmful elements of nature, geotoxins and things like that. And I can see this is sort of like a different take on that, where it's like it's the wildness of nature. But I mean, so east of Austin, the Piney Wood, there's like this Piney Woods Park that burned down near Bastrop a few years ago. And it was just like gigantic wildfire, filled the entire horizon with like just thick black smoke. And then after that, like gray smoke for days. And driving through there, like over the years, I drive through it about once a year, and you get to see it as it regrows, and you get to see like the invasive species that they're trying to keep out, and like how the forest is trying to come back. And it was really powerful. And like this captures that sort of experience of watching that and witnessing it, because it's like this druid can lay on the hurt, and then it's also like step into this healing flame, my son, kind of business.
It is like I have had druids, and before I have a particular druid concept of that. There's basically Ra's al Ghul, right? Like an environmental terrorist, and this fits kind of nice for that kind of thing.
Yeah,
kind of like the Magneto druid. Like I'm just gonna like no, I need to like get rid of everyone. Like you are the biggest threat to nature. I need to.
Yeah. It's all you. It's all of your.
I will regrow the world in my own image.
No problems.
The bond with your wild. So we burst our hustling. Apparently, we talk a lot. Oh my god! Bond with your wildfire spirit enhances your destructive and restorative spells. Whenever you cast a spell that deals fire damage and restores hit points, while your whenever you cast a spell that does fire damage or restores hit points while your wildfire spirit is summoned, roll another 1d8 and gain a bonus to one roll of the damage. It's not they're trying to avoid the whole crit thing, and they're being very specific. But you're getting like a nice, healthy, potentially great bonus to your fire damage. Or
get a lot of mileage out of a first level cure wounds, right?
This is very decent for 6th level. And I like it. Flames of Life. What do you think of Flames of Life?
I really like this. So Flames of Life is that whenever you've got a smaller, larger creature you can see dies within 30 feet of you, and you've got your wildfire spirits. This is where the cool thing is, right? So it's like moving around the battlefield, teleporting, and sort of like acting as a second anchor for your abilities. You can use a reaction to cause primal flames to spring up from the body. When a creature you can see touches these flames, that creature regains hit points or takes fire damage of druid's choice equal to 2d10 plus your wisdom. The flames vanish after the creatures touch them or after 1 minute, and you can use this equal to your wisdom mod, and they refresh on a long rest. To me, this is really cool, because I'm probably by 10th level spamming my big damage spells, and it's probably like Scorching Ray, Fireballs, all kinds of things, and having something where you can just sort of like, here, just go take this, right? I'm going to leave this somewhere on the battlefield for you. Oh, and if an enemy happens to, see someone get healed by it and try to use it themselves, sucks to be them. But I probably would mostly use this for healing and keeping sort of like everybody topped off, or just whoever needed it at that moment.
This is dark or wonderful at the same time, and it is like the embodiment of like the Phoenix concept. And I mean, this is just like causing destruction.
And it could be it's any creature, not just your enemies, right? So it's
even your own player could like maybe save the rest of the party by dying, or that's the plan in some weird, crazy, wackadoo way. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier. I just see this combat just like boom, 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 like casting fireball. You've already cast fireball.
Already cast fireball.
What if one of those things just pops off and explodes like a pine cone?
Right.
This is a blaster,
and
this is what makes them very. And again, you can choose to do the healing, but this is like a powerful druid. This druid is not to be messed with. At 14th level, we have Blazing Endurance. I'm sorry that we're not talking more about Flames of Life. It is, in my opinion, the keystone ability of this entire class.
Certainly,
it's
yeah.
so cool.
Certainly it is, yeah.
14th level, the bond with your Wildfire Spirit is exceptionally strong. Even fatal blows only fuel your defiance. You drop to 0 hit points and don't die outright. You drop to 1 hit point instead and gain temporary hit points equal to 5 times your druid level. And each creature of your choice within 30 feet of you that you can see take fire damage equal to 2d10 plus your druid druid level. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until a long rest. I love it. You don't mess with Wildfire Druid. He will end you.
And listen, you're a non-moon druid, so chances are you're gonna drop to 0. Like it's an ability. To me, like the Phoenix Sorcerer's Phoenix thing came online too late, and I feel like 14th level is still you can get uses out of it. I'm kind of curious what happens when you're half orc Wildfire Druid with Death Ward. Like which of those takes place first?
Just battle rages into it and dies willingly. Okay, so we don't have a lot of time. This is my fault. Because we're talky. Onomancy. Listen, everyone, names and spells are the coolest thing. They're established in Welsh, Irish lore. They're established in almost any conversation about the devil, demons, both. Whether I know typically people think of devils being very big on names, but demons are as well, and D&D to a certain degree. Names are just part of spells. I love Onomancy. It's a little hard for me to pronounce, but this is brilliant because you are taking someone's name and you are making that part of the spell component. And it's just like, here's me saying the spell, and here's a little hack, a little bit more of a hack I'm going to put onto it. I think it's brilliant.
And I really like this. And it's sort of like there was, I think in second edition, there were, or maybe first, there's some rules like specific type spells where it's like, here's how you research a true name, and here's how you use it for the specific spell. But there's never been like a general true name kind of thing, even though it's been part of the D&D lore, not just mythology, right? So to see this is really cool. I have some, there's like some questions I have about like the stuff surrounding this subclass. Like, can I find a true name with detect thoughts or modify memory? Like, can I just, convince someone to tell me with a persuasion roll? Like, there's all kinds of questions that I have about it.
It's a big buy-in from the DM.
You're kind of putting yourself.
How superstitious are these people? Because until this class existed, everyone's giving your name willy-nilly. But then in the DM's mind, where this is the kind of magic that exists, it's hard for them not to be on the defensive, right? Because you are looking at a wizard who, in some weird way, is kind of like the arcane archer. They automatically have a way that they can probably surmise what your true name is, and this is you need extract name. You have to have this, but there are lots of other ways to find names. Doing research. I was going to say
research. Xanathar's guide has, it doesn't say true name, but it's like you learn true facts about, a thing.
Exactly. Detecting thoughts, your name could probably come up. You got zone of truth. For God's sake, find the old man or old woman that literally helped give birth to every kid in the village. There are ways to find this stuff out.
There are ways to find it out. Yeah.
Gandalf in a library, finding out, who the 9 are and that they've come back, just all kinds of stuff can be used. And it works as the arcane archer in the sense that you were casting the spell already, but now you can choose 2 of these options, like absorption, devastation, dissolution, nullification, puppetry. You can knock people around. You can give them disadvantage on saving throws. You can cause more damage with a spell. This is really powerful stuff, and this is level 2, right? Wait, wait. I'm looking at this wrong. Sorry, level 6.
Level 6 for the resonance, but still faithful naming is extract name. The thing I think is fun with extract name is just what is and isn't immune to charmed. And so that would be one of those that just looking at it, because I'm seeing a lot of things that I would want to know the names of, like demons, fiends and things like that. So it could be that this is something you use on mortals, and you have to do the legwork to learn a demon's true name. Like you've got to find that abyssal tome. You've got to talk to a demonologist or something. Makes an adventure out of it.
It does, and that is the thing.
True names are loot.
Jeremy Crawford about this exactly. True names become loot, and that's what I like about this subclass. And I hope it survives. Many questions
I hope it does not go the way of the lore
it adds
wizard.
value, like magical items, spell components, monsters, and also acquiring names.
And then like who you cast these spells around, because you have to incorporate the name into the spell. You got to be careful, like who you utter their true name in front of, because it could be that, like if it's a spy or someone else or something, or you utter your own true name in front of the enemy because you're like, oh, I got bless and I know my true name. I'm one of the targets, 2 others. I said that around someone I shouldn't. That's I would brush up if it were me. If I were the player of this, I'd brush up on the spellcasting rules from the PHP. Just like, how loud do I have to be?
It gets very Constantine. I
love that.
This new arcane tradition. Yeah, and I quite like it. And again, this is like more of a hacky wizard. Like this is a wizard who's learned to kind of like shape the weave even a little bit more. I know some people are like scared, like extract name is like the fundamental part of this. Otherwise, you can't really do everything. Listen, you're still a wizard.
Sure, you're still a full wizard.
And we have listed you so many means for you to get a true name. And you don't need the true name to succeed. It's just something cool that you're always doing. Now, maybe your DM will go insane if you keep on asking, what's his name? What's his name? Is it his true name?
I can come up with a table.
But relentless naming. Speaking of which, now you can just bypass the creature's defenses.
I love this. I really love this. This is nasty.
You deal damage to a creature. You use their true name. Cast a spell. Spell causes the spell to deal force or psychic damage to the creature instead of the spell's normal damage type. This means your spells do whatever you want them to do when it comes to damage.
Right.
So,
and
I'm sorry, Evocation Wizard. You can step aside now because I don't care what you're resistant to. I'm gonna just
come on. Yeah, really, unless area of effect is your big thing and you don't want to roast your friends. To me, this is the generalist wizard that I wish that lore had become, even though lore didn't survive. That's all right.
It is a touch lore wizard, really.
Yeah. And certainly to me, the resonances are the wizard's meta magic. And in that sense, I want a wizard who can modify their spells. Sorcerers can have meta magic as long as wizards can modify their spells. I'll accept that instead of taking it away from sorcerers. And
I'm really sorry we didn't get to talk about all of these. Resonances, these known resonances like absorption. Someone can gain temporary hit points, devastation. The creature has disadvantage on the saving throw because you know their name. Dissolution. They take extra force damage because you knew their name when you cast a spell. This is already you're hitting spells at so much more damage now if you know their name. You are a blaster, another blaster. Nullification. I mean, they have to succeed at an intelligence saving throw.
It's the
puppetry. You can knock them around. I mean, this is super versatile stuff. This is like Eldritch Blast level, like bing, 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 bing. My Eldritch Blast, do whatever I want.
Absolutely. Sympathy is, I think, probably my favorite just because of the no line of sight. It's kind of like, I'll keep an eye on you, rogue. Just stick around here. Stick around this area. I know we don't have a lot of time to do questions, but I did see this last one. Would Onomancy fit Bard better? And I think to me, I get where they're going. It's based on force of personality and expressions. But to me, Onomancy is the magical manipulation of that thing. The wizard is hacking into it. The wizard's you're just going to, I'm extracting your name. I'm not learning it by persuasion. I'm taking it and I'm going to mess with it. I'm going to tinker with it. Whereas I feel like Bard, there is a true name class for Bard, but I don't know that it's this one. There's maybe you work it into songs or rhetoric or something. Yeah, I know some people thought this should be a Bard. Sympathy is also creepy because if you got their name, you can hit them. So sympathy is an interesting way to call it this, because yes, you can either heal your friend no matter where they are,
which is lovely, or I got your name. Like it doesn't matter where you are, I have you.
Yeah, to me, this is sort of like I think there's a lot of competition for, or not necessarily competition, but there's a lot more to keep track of. Not competition for something, but you got to keep track of a lot of different, you know, int mod per long rest kind of stuff. But it's a great generalist wizard. It's a really cool thing. I love it. I wish we had more time to talk about it.
Yeah, I feel like I have not done this justice. I think again, this is like one of the wizards I definitely would play.
Yeah,
because it's so specific and so again, arcane archery kind of that, like the you can just add to all your spells a little bit more. It really is like it's so much cooler than evocation. Like you can just it's lovely. It's the most wizardy wizard to me.
So
right
much
now.
Earthsea, man. You could not before now play the main character from Earthsea with his name magic and everything. Come on.
No.
Yeah, now you can. There you go.
All right. We're probably making someone angry somewhere in the universe. So we'll bugger off. Thank you so much, Jim Davis. Please check out all things WebDM. They've got Twitter. They've got a lovely Patreon, YouTube videos that I'm not making this up. I will just play WebDM videos and just listen to them talk and talk and talk and talk because it's very informative. I'm pretty sure my wife learned most of D&D just from watching WebDM. So WebDM is wonderful. Go check them out.
Thank you.
Well, mainly she learned D&D from me, like throwing werewolves and vampires at her relentlessly day in, day out. So, but thank you everyone for watching, and maybe we'll talk about this subclass hopefully soon again.
Again.